Welcome to Mindful Prayers for Students. I'm your host, Lavetta Jenkins, and I'm here to give you encouragement, reassurance, peace, and mindfulness throughout your academic journey. I hope that this moment of mindfulness helps you remember just how special you are and how much God desires to bless you through your journey. So, put on your headphones, find a quiet, calm space, and let's get started. Today, I am joined by my friend who is an author and entrepreneur, D.E. Eliot. We're going to talk all about his amazing journey as a first-generation college student all the way to published author. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Listen, I know that I've known you forever, but tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in a little small town, but not too small. I grew up in Hamilton, Ohio. I moved around a lot. I lived in California. I actually lived out in Oakland during the riots, actually.
Wow.
Crazy. Then I came back here and graduated from Fairfield. Then I went into the military. I went to the military because my brother went into the military. And then when I got out, I went to college, and I was the first in my family to go to college. That made me proud. But that's pretty much it. And then I met this woman. I married her.
That was hilarious. And the only thing I find it so funny because I know the relationship that you two have.
Yeah.
And it's so like Alfalfa and Darla, but you two are made for each other. And I love that. Tell us how you went from first in your family to go to college and you ended up being the first author. What led you there?
Man, honestly, when it came to college, I felt like I needed to do something more. And I knew that I needed to learn about writing, even though college I felt like college didn't help me with my writing as much as I thought it would. I mean, the story about how I learned to write is fire, but it wasn't from college. So I went to college and I didn't really get out of it everything, but it kind of gave me a discipline. You know, like military. So it's like when you get out of the military, you have a certain discipline. So I had that discipline to go into it and do what I thought was right for myself. But it was more of proving that I could do it if I wanted to do it, you know. But it is beneficial. I'm still one of those people that believe, you know, you go to college. My daughter's in college. I'm really proud of her.
You said you went to the armed forces because your brother went. You went to college because you wanted something different. You and I come from very similar backgrounds, being like PKs or preacher's kids.
Yeah.
How did your upbringing kind of keep you in your faith while you were kind of discovering who you were in both the armed forces and college?
The honest answer is when you're young, you don't realize what your faith is. Like you think you have it because it's your family. And it was like I had to go through struggles and it led me back to that. What I've learned when I was younger, because I don't have it like me personally. I can't complain about a lot of things. Like, I mean, you know, I have a beautiful daughter, I have a beautiful wife. I got, you know, I'm doing pretty well. So, and it's like I don't want to just be like, oh well, you gotta pray. It's like, no, sometimes you gotta go through struggle too, man. Like to make you because you appreciate it more. So I think the fact that growing up, seeing the struggle that my mom went through and it never broke her. And we're talking about my father was killed. Here she is with 3 kids of her own and she's still raising his kids. So now she got 5 kids. And remember, I don't know if I told you this, like my father died. He had another woman pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So my mom is like Job right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you talking about going through it. Like, yeah, and it was weird because, like, I never even knew that story. My little brother told me, and honestly, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to, like, life and faith and stuff. That's how the creation of Own Son came from. Because I had one half of the story, and my brother had the other half. So, remember, Own Son is from 2 different people's perspectives.
And for those who are not familiar, Own Son is which number of book is that?
That's my second novel.
Okay. That was the one I had the privilege of reading before everybody else did. And it is a phenomenal and very accurate truth for people who are of color in church and witness the missteps of someone else.
Yeah.
Or have had that misstep. And that story, too, is a story of faith and bringing things back into a perspective. And like you said, making something out of the struggle.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did, with, and what your mother did, what she showed you through all of those tests and trials. For you to say she was like, Job, absolutely. Your
Oh,
husband's
yeah.
gone, you have all these children, and now there's an
And all
extra.
boys. Think about this. You got 5 boys living in your house.
And the man of the house is gone.
And the man in the house was gone. The man in the house had gotten murdered. And you wake up one morning, you stuck with 5 kids on your own. Like, that is a struggle for anybody.
She definitely, although she lost the physical man in the house, she had to definitely put more God in the house to keep it straight with 5 sons.
Well, she definitely did that. I can tell you that. She definitely did that.
What would you say she gave you, either morally, physically, spiritually? What would you say she gave you that helped you persevere and maintain your good standing with yourself, your honor, and with God this whole time? Because you didn't escape, or make it where you are just because, you happen to be a good person. What gift did she give you that carried you?
I think the one thing that I can say, my mom never doubted that we could do anything. She never held us back.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very supportive. Now, granted, my mom was a little strict, she wouldn't spare no rod now.
Right.
But she allowed us to grow and never question, hey, this is what I want to do. So I never had that feeling like, oh, my mom's going to be disappointed if I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy too, because my mom was like, I tried to read your book, but it had all those cuss words in it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Mom, you do understand? I was like, I'm going to have to write about real life. And she was like, I know, but I'm just the Lord. Okay. And my mom could sing too. That's one thing I will say. My mom singing did a lot as well. My mom used to sing with Roger Troutman. My mom was the first woman in Zapp before they brought in Shirley Murdoch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because before they were actually Zapp, they were something else. They did one on Roger Troutman.
I remember.
And there's a picture, of my mom's in that picture where they had the first girl. Like, I called my mom, I was like, on TV.
So I would say that God literally took your mom through a place where she kind of had it all and got her to where she ended up married, children, and then seemingly took everything from her, but she found strength from that struggle. And in what ways would you say you found, once you got to become a author and entrepreneur, what way would you say you found strength through those struggles?
Man, I had my own struggle. When you're that young, you don't really understand your parents' struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, I started to realize, I never really talked to my mother as an adult. And so I would ask her questions because I went through it. My first child died at childbirth. It was crazy. And I remember talking to my mom, in the hospital. I lost my father and my child. That's crazy to me. But you realize that although those were terrible moments, they make you stronger because there are certain things that people can't say to me and I'm just going to be like, oh man, I'm not going to cry about it because it's you don't know what I've lost.
Mm-hmm.
So your negative opinion of me will never stop me from going forward.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't think I can do something, I'm more the person all right, that's on you, but you going to find out.
Yeah.
you gonna find out. And if I don't succeed at it, guess what? Your opinion is not going to define me because it could be worse. It really could be worse.
It could. You said something that kind of caught me because we know that along the lines of a lot of people being first gen, they always hear people saying, well, maybe you shouldn't, or I don't think you could do that. And the best thing you just said was, okay, but watch me. And to just let them have whatever thought they have, but internally what you're capable of doing. So I would say to any student who's listening to this, you may have had a struggle or 2 or 10, but the struggle will give you the strength to keep moving forward and to really become who deep inside you were meant to be.
And I would also say, okay, if we're talking to students, there are 3 things that you need to know going in.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1 the people who are closest to you, they may support you, but it won't look or feel the way you think it. Because a lot of people only want to see the finished product. They don't want to see the sausage being made.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't want them to see the sausage being made. And they're never going to understand what you've done or what it took to get it done. They're never going to understand it. Like, nobody in my family understands what it means to write a novel. Like, they could not even grasp it. All they care about, though, is that the novel was done. Like, but they don't care about, right?
Yeah.
You know,
on the shelf, I see it in the store. I can buy it on Amazon. It's a physical book, and he wrote it. And you're right. A lot of people don't want to see the rough draft of you. They don't want to see the rough draft of you building yourself as a person and as who you are permanently going to be. Some people just want to see the greatness at the end.
And you get two kinds of people. Some people want to see the greatness at the end, and some people can't accept what you are. They're always going to try to look at you for what you were. And you got to manage through those things, because that's how your faith is tested. Like, you're going to have those things, and if you're not strong enough or have enough faith in what you should believe in, you know, it's easier to fail, you know?
Right. And there is something to be said about setting yourself apart. Sometimes it can be lonely when you stretch out into a unfamiliar path that no one's ever been, and no one can tell you the way because they haven't been there. That can be a little bit lonely. It can be a little bit scary.
And I will say that leads kind of to my second point is, no matter what it is. Now, most of the stuff that I'm telling you would be based on writing. Okay. You cannot allow yourself to not take risks. You have to be because again, what's the worst that can happen? So many people, they go into certain things afraid and worried about, oh, if I do this, I'm going to fail, or how I'm going to look. You have to take those risks. Like, if you can't be vulnerable with yourself, I don't know how you can ever achieve or go forward, because you will never put yourself in a situation to where success could actually happen for you.
Right.
You know, so. And then my last one is, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but if I explain it, it won't sound crazy. Because I was going to say, don't ever do anything for the money, even though that might be the end goal. Because especially with writing, if you're writing for money, it kind of shows. Like, because you're not putting the right passion into the writing. So, you know, and those are my three things.
And I'm thankful that you have, because your lessons and everything that you've learned through your faith and the strength you've gotten from your struggle has given you some amazing novels. One of them I'm still waiting on. But do you have any words of encouragement you want to share with some students who might feel like, you know, they're going through a lot right now, or they're a little anxious about what lies ahead?
Yeah, I guess I'll say it like I tell my daughters. It's never, and it might be cliche, but trust me on it, it's never as bad as you think it is. Like, it just isn't. Like, there are certain things that you're probably worried about right now, from like 2 years from now, you'll be like, I can't believe I was worried about that. Like, I mean, it never is. And whatever idea you have, it is never too big to accomplish it. Like, if you say, I want to invent the next microchip, you can do it. Like seriously, like, people think certain things are like cliche, but they're not. Like, you just got to put the work in. As long as you put the work in, man, I'm telling you, you can achieve anything. What they call it, coach speech, but it's true. That's why the repetition too. That's one thing too. If it's something that you can do and you do it over and over and over, I am telling you, after a while, you become better at it. I mean, so get in the habit of doing what you want to do every day. Like, carve out time for it. Like, when I started writing, I wrote every day until I found my voice. Now I know my voice. I know how to do structure. So I don't have to do it every day because I know what I want to do. But even now, like, I haven't written in like a year, 2 years. And when I say write, I'm talking about novels. I always write. I write all the time. But you have to keep up. Like, you have to practice. Like, Steph Curry ain't making no threes without practice.
Right.
Like,
where can our listeners find out more about you and your work?
Both of my novels are on Amazon, which the first one is Ruined by D.E. Eliot, and the other book is Own Son.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you again for being my guest today. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate you asking me to come on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Mindful Prayers for Students. I hope these prayers give you the support, motivation, and the centering you need in your day. I know God is going to do great things in your life, and I can't wait to see where your journey takes you. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a second to rate and review and share it with a friend. You can follow us at We Are Barrier Breakers on all socials or visit our website, barrier-breakers.org, for more faith-based educational resources.